Okay, thank you everyone for joining us today. I'm Benjamin, and this is the wonderful Christine. We're going to be talking to you today about how material has made huge inroads with automation, particularly on some of their very large tracking projects. Just by way of introduction to what we're going to look at today, so Christine's going to give us the story from material and a couple of case studies that they've used automation on very successfully. Then I'll take over and give you an idea of what the automation in action actually looks like. For some people, it's taken for granted that something's automated. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's automated to what it could be. And a new topic we're calling charts from heaven, and that's we're looking at how we can now get charting done in the cloud, online, and connect that up with many other systems that may be out there. And then we'll summarize and wrap up with the benefits, strategic benefits of automated reporting. So, over to Christine.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. So automation is a term that gets thrown around a lot. I help lead a division of global tracking, and I've heard this a million times, like automated, we can do everything, it's magic. But in the reality, a lot of the automation tools that are out there are truly tools. It's people pointing a tool to one source and then repeating it. But if there's any kind of variation by market, if there's any complexity, you end up with more work on your hands at the end of the day to have to clean it up after the fact. So like tools, they can really be helpful, but they can only get you so far. Their rigidity and the fact that they require predetermined specifications in terms of ordering of the brands, the number of stubs and everything, just doesn't work for us. And that's because the work that we do at Material is endlessly complex and customized. We build systems of learning to kind of drive decisions for not only insights, but also stakeholders throughout the organization. And this means we build solutions to meet our clients' needs rather than having a standard cookie cutter output that all programs must adhere to. So these rigid tools like truly just don't work for us. But working with eTabs, we've really been able to unlock true automation, so nimble, flexible, efficient automation that can adapt to the variability that our strategic work requires. This automation can adapt to different brand lists or statements by markets or by subgroups, multiple data sources, dynamic variations in numbers of columns, rows, bars, and charts and tables, different show orders for metrics or brands, logos, images, and more. And so really what this has helped us unlock for our clients is speed, value, accuracy, and deeper story and insights. As you know, report population is one of the most time and labor-intensive parts of market research, particularly for multi-country, frequent cadence tracking studies. And in the past, it would be all hands on deck, trying to populate hundreds of pages of reports and like many layers of reviews to ensure accuracy, and it would be weeks of time. With eTabs automation, this time has truly been cut down to hours. And while the time savings is really exciting for us, it actually makes us even more excited to see the way that it's helped benefited our clients. So one is like truly speed to insights with fully populated, polished reports just days after closing field. And then with the significantly reduced amount of labor involved, we're able to pass that savings on to our clients. And so they're getting the same volume and quality of reports, but they now have additional budget to utilize elsewhere. And then by taking the human element out, this accuracy is truly guaranteed without spending hours of checking and rechecking the data. And then lastly, with all of this, this just means more time dedicated to the story and the insights that the data is telling, rather than worrying about the charting itself. So beyond these tangible benefits to the clients, we're also finding that this automation is allowing us to be better consultants and partners and providing better service all at once. So by freeing up this time that was previously spent pulling slides, our researchers are now devoting more of their time to the higher level analysis, thinking, and leveling up of the insights. More of their time is being reinvested into helping our clients solve their business questions instead of just reporting the trends. And we can spend time digging into the why and provide a deeper level of analysis. And now that our researchers have more time to focus on what matters, it leads to both happier clients and our happier researchers ourselves. I'm going to take you through a case study for multinational monthly brand tracker We took this on. It ended up being extremely complex. Benjamin's laughing because he knows this firsthand. It has over 15 countries. The countries rotate in and out, no set cadence, no order to it at all. Survey content, brands vary country to country, month to month. The KPIs have different definitions depending on which market you're talking about. And they have an extremely fast need for speed, as well as it needs to be in Google Slides. And not just in Google Slides, but it has to have the underlying data in the Google Sheets below it. And if any of you guys have worked with Google Slides in market research, you'll understand how difficult it is to truly populate those charts and how tedious and time-consuming that can be. But we were able to work with eTabs. We established an automated solution. It saves us about 40 hours a wave. Over a week of time, we send them the data. We get back fully populated reports within an hour or two. And over the year, it's been about over 170 hours on this project alone. And we have this for many of our projects. All the charts are native to Google Slides. They include the data in the underlying Google Sheets. And once this report automation was established, we were also able to leverage that work into developing a custom dashboard, which also exports the data straight into Google Sheets. And this dashboard has enabled us to eliminate several manual data table deliverables in Google Sheets that are now automatically populated in our dashboard. So truly, all this automation has been a total game changer with how extensively flexible and convenient and fast and amazing it's been.
Thank you. Thanks, Christine. Okay, so now you've heard the actual sort of application and case study. Let's have a look and see what this actually means and how can you experience that euphoria as we've labeled the presentation. So just a little bit of introduction about eTabs. We are a software supplier and services to the market research industry. We've been doing this now for a long, long time, over 27 years now. And as a global position, we're able to provide support around the clock. So we're not just, my accent gives it away, we're not just a British company. We have teams all around the world. And we won a number of awards over time, which included the opportunity to go to Buckingham Palace and meet the late Her Majesty the Queen, which was a wonderful experience. So, automated charting isn't new, as I said before, but nowadays getting charts generated automatically is fairly common and often taken for granted. Most options out there, however, they aren't actually that flexible. Sometimes you'll have a bright spark on a team who will create an Excel macro, for example, to run off a bunch of charts. Macros, however, while good at what they do, they're not perfect. And once made, they're like concrete. If you want to make any changes, you need to smash it up and start again. That doesn't offer flexibility when clients say, well, actually, now my brand logo has changed. Now my coloring has changed. Actually, I don't want it in that chart. I want it in a different chart. Macros are very, very specific to the original task. So if the expected data structure changes, or even if the client wants something adjusted in the formatting, that macro will simply have to be recreated. Maybe charts are given to you as images that can't be edited. Again, not particularly helpful. And you're probably somewhat limited in what chart types those systems offer you, the number of objects on a slide, for example, or they restrict the sort of conditions when things start changing. So maybe you have an online analysis tool as well that offers rendering of analyses into simple PowerPoint charts. I sort of emphasize the word simple. It's sweet, but then you're still left with a lot of post-formatting and fiddling and changing around to get what you actually want as a deliverable to the client or the stakeholder. So the optimum solution for automated market research and insights reporting should firstly be a system that can read in the currency of market research, banner tables, for example, or SPSS files, without having to ask DP to make any special customized adjustments. It should be able to handle variance in trackers or multi-market studies without much fuss. Variance over time, variance in brand lists across markets and competitors and so on. Different numbers of brands in different markets. You might need to show or calculate significance testing and stat testing, deal with low base conditions, or even write condition-based analysis text. So notice that it's gone up or gone down since the previous wave and by how much. Automatically handle brand logos, placement of indicators, arrows, traffic light symbols, whatever it may be. even data-driven infographics. If the solution can natively understand, therefore, the actual language of market research data and our industry's unique style and reporting needs, then so much more detail can actually be automated as a result. And this is ideal for trackers, continuous studies, multi-market projects, repetitive customer satisfaction, employee satisfaction studies, concept ad testing. So the more, if you like, cookie cutter, or the more standardized, although again with the flexibility for change, the greater the gains will be. And it's even suitable for some types of ad hoc studies, as we'll see. So we're talking about automating client-ready reports with every level of detail fully automated, so you can then concentrate on the analysis and add more value to the project. I'll explain to you the principle behind the automation then. So rather than saying, okay, do you want that automated into a bunch of charts, we'll say, what does that end result need to look like? So you'll come to, sorry, go back a slide. So you'll come to it with on the left-hand side, a presentation deck that's already been designed. It's already got all the layouts and the formatting that you might need and the types of charts, and all the nuances are in there. You'll have your data tables, and this may be a project you've already delivered before, so you've already got a template from last wave or from a previous market. And you've got your data tables. Data can be coming in from Excel, Google Sheets, even online data sources. And then the system, once set up, will pull the data into the relevant charts and slides as needed. So you end up with a populated deck, which is, again, fully editable. So if you need to make changes afterwards before it goes to the client or stakeholder, that's fine. Let's see it in action then. So this is the actual sort of desktop version of our product. Let's open up the source file. It's reading that in now. So a source file could be typical banner tables, or any Excel file, or an SPSS SAV file, for example. And you can have any number of those, so you're not restricted to all the data being in one place. And you can see these are regular tables, stat testings in there, frequency rows, percentage rows, and so on. Let's now have a look at the template. So this is the template. A few slides in PowerPoint, so it's all designed and starts in PowerPoint. You'll see on every slide these type of, we call them data tags, and those are our critical way of describing what data needs to go in there. So behind the chart now, you'll see data tags. Just open that chart, you can see how it's an editable chart. So the original PowerPoint chart is behind there with a data sheet. Rather than the data sheet having data in it, it's got these tags. So the defining of those tags, that's all part of the initial setup stage. Look at the top there, title text, it's got conditional text in there. So it'll say that our fictitious brand Orango has gone up or has decreased by X%. So that's writing out the standard analysis text. A ranking table on the side there as well, so you'll see how the different fictitious brands measure up each time. A table, again, regular PowerPoint table. This is going to bring in the data. It's then going to apply conditional formatting, so you'll end up with a nice color-coded heat map. Bring brand logos in. Another table that's going to show stat testing. Even, as you can see, just zooming in here, the bottom row there with the footer, we can actually populate every single variable. N equals the base values for each of those variables. And then the very last slide. This is one that's going to be replicated automatically across different markets. So we want to see the competitor brands, how they change from market to market against the core brand. So various sort of NPS charts will be in there. I'm going to click Run now. And at this stage, it's now populating every chart on every slide. It's then doing any calculations that might be needed, anything that touches the data, like sorting it, ranking it, stat testing, calculating averages, and so on. And then it does the conditional formatting, which is the real sexy bit, with the automatically changes Coke to be a Coke brand logo, Pepsi to be blue, and so on. So it'll putting indicators based on stat testing, anything that requires sort of formatting adjustments. So that's now finished. And here's the output. It's been populated. On that first slide there, you can see it says Wave 4, whereas previously it just had the tags. That's been replaced with a piece of text. That's simple. Next stage, you can see the chart there. You can see the arrows gone in to show stat testing. That's all automatic. The data, it's still, as Christine said, editable afterwards, so you can make all those changes if you need to. It's just the underlying data is all available to you. The conditional text in the header there decreased by 10%. and the ranking table as well, showing how the position of those brands has changed in ranking since the previous time. Here's the heat map. Brand logos, flags, all gone in automatically as well. If things, of course, change, the top 10 brands change each month, then, of course, the logos will match up accordingly. Stat testing letters in the table there, next to the values. So we saw before the stat testing as indicators on a chart. Now it's the A, Bs, and Cs. And, of course, all the information down in the footer as well has all been automatically populated with the base values. Also shown some low base suppression with an asterisk and so on. On the last slide that got repeated 3 times, so this is the global with its 3 brands, top competitors, and then the next slide will show, I think it's Australia and then France. Same thing, but top 3 brand competitors have changed, of course, from market to market. So that is a quick glimpse of the euphoria. So what can we automate? Well, the traditional Office suite of PowerPoint, Excel, and Word are a well-trodden path, but now we're seeing Google Slides and Google Sheets appearing more regularly as mandated deliverables. Again, as Christine pointed out, anyone that's had the pleasure, and I say that in quote marks, will testify it's actually quite challenging preparing chart-heavy presentations in Google Slides. It's very, very time-consuming and frustrating. But that's all changing now. In a first for the industry, we're proud to announce that automating Google Slides and Sheets is possible with all the detail and leaving the objects as being native objects, again, to be able to make adjustments to before delivering the final presentation. So, on the top of Google Slides, this is that same project we just saw before, but in Google Slides. So it has the template and it has the populated output. And we're seeing the transformation from that empty template to it being populated, including the conditional text, the arrows, the indicators, ranking, and so on. Here's that heat map slide again, also automated, all within Google. And whatever it populates, of course, it will then leave the Google Slides on your Google Drive, or the client's Google Drive. So now we understand the concept of fully automated reporting on standard static projects, PowerPoint and so on. How about leveraging that same technology to obtain automatic editable exports from online dashboards? So as you're probably aware, most dashboard platforms fail to provide useful exports, where the charts are exported literally just as images. And of course, you can't play around with that. So even if they offer an Excel output, that's just the data, and then you're still having to do all the charting yourselves. So based on our mainstream automation platform I've just shown you, we're now looking at Enterprise Cloud, which is a fully cloud-based platform that can accept data from anywhere, all online, of course, including popular dashboard systems like Tableau, Power BI, and others. And they can then match up the data that the users, they've gone into Tableau and they've gone filtered and chosen what they want. Oh, I'd like that as an editable PowerPoint, please. They'll click on the export button that over the cloud using an API talks to our platform, and then you end up with a nice native PowerPoint or even Google Slides or Sheets deck delivered back on request, within seconds. Let's see a brief clip of that in action, and then we'll have some time for questions. So I'll explain the principle behind our solution. We've developed an export function that can be integrated with an existing dashboard. So that's a Power BI dashboard you see there. When clicked on, this exporter sends a data packet containing the currently visible data over the cloud server. And within seconds, the Enterprise Cloud Server then populates the PowerPoint or Google Slides equivalent of that dashboard with that packet of data that's just been chosen and filtered. And then the person who requests it gets an email back with an attachment, and there it is, the editable PowerPoint equivalent of that same online dashboard they had a few moments earlier. Again, each object is a regular PowerPoint object. So it's simply as easy as that, just using automation and getting as much as you can out of it. The same platform can also generate a chart deck for ad hoc studies from your own standard templates. So you simply would fill in a form online or an Excel form that describes which data to bring in for which question and which chart type you want, and it'll go off and generate a whole series of charts based on that request, and then you've got it in your inbox ready to make adjustments as you want to customize it before going to the client. So it's like just do everything and then cherry pick the ones you want. Saves so much time, and again, all editable after the event. So that's what I mean by fully automated reporting, rather than just being handed a bunch of charts. Auto charting and fully automated reporting are two different worlds. If you've got just automated charting, you just have a few charts, then you have to, like I said, spend ages fine-tuning them. And there's several strategic benefits to automated reporting. One, you can leverage technology to reduce the cost of reporting. That's sort of straightforward. Once the headache and the onus of reporting is then transferred from your fingers, you'll have more time and more headspace to utilize those analytical skills to dig for additional and more deeper insights. You'll be able to seize new, tangible revenue-generating opportunities. For example, if the field work is done monthly, but reporting is only just doable and achievable quarterly, you can now turn around to your client and say, look, we're getting the data every month, we push a button, a few minutes later the whole deck's updated. Would you like that same 100-slide chart every month instead of quarterly? Now, if that offer doesn't go down well with a client, I'd be quite shocked. Manual reporting not only costs you valuable time, of course, but it's prone to error. We're all human. By reporting directly from the source data itself, this reduces that chance for error, and no more typos, no more inaccuracies. And you and your client will have more confidence in the data being reported. Smaller companies, in particular, can begin to consider pitching on larger, more complex projects that they would otherwise not have even dreamt of submitting a proposal for due to their lack of resources. And finally, with the cost of reporting reduced and new channels for revenue generation, profit margins can, of course, be increased quite significantly. Looking at the bigger picture then, automation gives you the chance to add value to what you're doing now. You can do it better and you can do more of it. Enhancing your range of deliverables gives you ways to generate more revenue and maintain or increase and grow profits. Innovating your client reporting strengthens relationships. It could well make the difference between keeping a client or losing a client or project, or the difference between becoming stale in a client's eyes rather than just rather making those tangible changes that will turn you more into a partner than just a supplier. And finally, even staff will appreciate the automation. Instead of exercising their fingers preparing chart decks, they can exercise their minds, and less stress too. Increased job satisfaction will definitely translate into a happier team and company, and of course client relationships. Well, thank you very much. We have about 6 or 7 minutes for questions. Thank you for your time. Any questions? Sure. Oops.
Tell me a little bit more about how the data the various ways data can be collected and then imported into.
So in terms of the actual data collection, that's up to you.
Right.
So our starting point will always be, or tends to be, the final data, the aggregated data. That's why I've mentioned banner tables. We can also take like an SPSS, SAV, save file, which of course will be respondent level data. So we're very flexible on what data goes in. If you want automation to be successful, you've got to be consistent as well. So it doesn't have to be completely cookie cutter, as you Americans would say, but it does help to have that consistency, so we always know which brand we're looking for or which position we're looking for. It tends to be more flexible when we can point to words, look for Coca-Cola, look for Pepsi, look for Satisfied, rather than trying to fix it to a certain position, which again may change over time. Does that answer the question? Sure. Hi.
What goes into the comfortabilization process? Like onboarding, is there like a workshopping kind of thing, like go down what?
Absolutely. So on 2 levels. Firstly, just in terms of the template that you use, that is your template. So you don't use our system to design the PowerPoint. We're not giving you any restrictions. So design as much as you want within PowerPoint, whatever chart types, however you want your labels, whatever level of detail. And then we will give you the onboarding and the training to be able to point to your data, put in the right things, set up those tags I showed you, and get it working. We also offer a model where our team will do the automation for you. So you don't have to have the software and learn a new product. you could just rely on our team to do that for you. And then let's say it's a tracker every month, every quarter, just send us the new data. And we'll send you back the PowerPoint within a couple of hours.
And one thing I would add is that you don't have to do the template for every single slide. If your slide's gonna be 100, if your deck's gonna be 100 pages, you don't need to map out 100 pages. It's flexible enough to know, like, okay, duplicate this one for these different, however many countries you have or so on. So there's actually efficiency there as well.
Yeah, good point. Yeah, people often come to us and say, well, how much will it be for a 100-slide presentation? And we'll say, well, is it 100 very different slides with all sorts of crazy stack testing in every slide? Or is it actually 100 slides where it's 10 islands of the same slides across different categories? In which case, if it is the latter, then it's not 100 slides to us, it's just 10 slides. And then we get it to replicate that across the 10 categories. So, yeah, we don't just assume it's, give a costing on a number of slides. We look at the project and understand what's needed for that need. Any more questions? Hi, Christy. Ooh. Our development team is always very busy. A lot of our efforts are currently in the cloud platform and developing that further with a lot more application because it takes away the need to have installed software and it takes away the need for training and all the onboarding. The cloud solution allows automated reporting to be opened up to so many different use cases, like the dashboards, exports, like the ad hoc, where you simply just fill in a form, or it can analyze the tables and realize different chart types for different types of questions, that type of approach. And of course, the Google world, which is always evolving on a daily basis almost. So having to keep up with Google's changes is non-trivial. Okay, we still have time if you have any other last-minute thoughts. Or if not, you can come visit us at our booth at the front there. Or any questions for Christine, you have our email addresses on there. All right, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate it. Thank you, Christine.